Hello, my little weirdos. I want to have a little discussion about the federal congressional Republicans. Um, I think particularly the Senate, since everything that's the last stop before heading up. Um, from what I understand, from things I've been reading and watching as reports are made, is one of the reasons Republicans have not, even though they spoke out against January 6th, if you've noticed, it's always a different one. There's like one or two that surprises us and doesn't vote for it, but it goes like his picks, like the cabinet picks. One or two can dissent and make it where it's an even split, and then Vance, the vice president, makes the deciding vote. Apparently, I did always think that was odd. I noticed that. It wasn't always the same person. And it was like they were spreading it around. That's the way it seemed to me. And today I've two things and read one saying that letters they've gotten from the current administration, they're afraid. And it's not like we've been thinking that they're afraid that because he's threatened to primary anybody that didn't, any of the Republicans that didn't, vote for him. And if you don't know what that means, when it says we're going to primary you, that means if you're going to run again in the primary, they will put all their backing behind a different Republican candidate to let them win the primary, so you're out. And then they'll just be the fighting against a Democrat and such. So that's the short version of what it means, just in case you feel like, oh, I don't know what that means, but I don't want to ask because I look stupid. You're trying to learn, I get it. But they are afraid, literally, for their life. Because, and I think a lot of us haven't really thought about that on the other foot. What if everybody agrees to impeach? Trump has trained his base, his MAGA base, and I refer to them as rabid dogs. How many times does Trump refer to dogs? Either they're gonna, I'll kill him like the dog he is, or they're just a bunch of dogs, the media, Well, all he has to do now is mention how he's not happy, especially now that he's in charge. All he has to do is mention a name that he's not pleased that they're just taking up his time and annoying him with this pesky stuff type of thing, and his base will go after people. Look what they did to Pelosi. Yeah, my wrist is hurting with the cold. The Arctic blast. Some of these people, they know what his base is like. They understand the power is in training the base, and that's what Trump has done. And I hate to make that analogy, I hate to compare MAGA to dogs because that's not fair to dogs. But in all seriousness, it's not. But at the same rate, I'm not trying to say they're not human. I'm just saying they have some critical thinking skill issues, like they don't have them. And they will attack. He doesn't even have to dog whistle anymore. He's trained them so well. And if you're listening to this and you are still Republican, MAGA, and you're yelling at me on the screen right now, that proves my point. You're not even willing to listen to somebody who's unthreatening with freaking pink hair trying to explain something to you. And if you instantly get ignited with fury when he merely says, "Oh, all these pesky laws," and you're like, "Tell me when it hurt," if that's how you feel instantly, congratulations, you're a cultist. But what I want to say to those who are mad at the Republican lawmakers, senators, and representatives, no, I'm not giving them a card, a cookie, nothing. No pass, no cookie, no juice box, no pat on the head. Because number one, most of them were there for January 6th, and they ran away. I remember somebody, was it Mitch perhaps, who was hiding in a closet? Hiding, running. I remember somebody scampering along named Holly. And the ones who didn't denounce on January 7th, people like Holly, Gates, Obert Green, they were involved. Those who weren't, knew, suspected, but you can't just assume that, hey, I gotta fly. You can't just assume just because they didn't denounce it. So let me just say that. But if you're not going to denounce that, seriously, people, we all saw it. We all heard it. So no, they don't get, I don't feel badly. All I can say is I understand the fear. But who was it that didn't impeach him? Who was it who after January 6th said how horrible it was, and within a week you forgot about it, and ever since have been saying, can we just move on? Because it's a sore spot, and they don't want to discuss it, because they don't want to be a hypocrite, because they know what they said, and they know it's irrevocably on knowledge now. But they don't want to come out and still say it like that because they're afraid. They're afraid. Now, I get they're afraid, but like I said, who created the situation? Who could stop the situation right now? Yes, you all can join and agree to pass impeachment. And in light of the fact that all things have been never before having to deal with Trump, come together as the body and the both parts and agree to make a new rule or something when he's impeached. The entire admin goes, something that will be applicable. Yes, you may be scared, but if you're willing to join, I am pretty sure they can't attack all of you at the same time, okay? And listen, you had many, many paths while you were on this river to get out where it was a little calm, to climb out on the bank. But you stayed for the rapids. You stayed for the whitewaters. Any time you could have clawed out of you, any of you, or together. You could have made the rule. You could have forced the Supreme Court to stand up. You could have challenged. You could have done things anywhere along the road. You didn't have to have him as a second time as a candidate, or actually a third time. You didn't have to do that. After he lost to Biden, you should have let that momentum be the death knell of neo-Nazi MAGA. But still, you stayed. Then it was your career. Now you're afraid for your life. But you know what? You were part of the ones condoning misogyny, part of condoning racism, part of condoning bigotry, LGBTQ, anti-this, anti-that, anti-abortion, anti-choice. Don't let them have this. Don't let them have that. Don't let them learn easier, better. Hell no. Put more money to the military, less money to the education. Let them keep shooting kids in school. We don't need regulations. Does any of this sound familiar to the Republican playbook? Me thinks it is. Yes, I understand you're afraid for your life. Do you know how many people over the course of the last 10 years that you've made afraid for their lives? Tit for tat, Republicans. You're scared. Boo-hoo. You're scared. Here's my violin. I get you're scared now. But you created the beast. And now you gotta lie with it. So, you could be a latecomer to the correct side in history because you're already on the evil and despicable subhuman side of history. Now, if you want to redeem that, just even the slightest, that your name isn't said with a spit and a disgusted look, maybe just a little bit of you redeemed it to last, maybe you should start growing a spine and be the patriot you claimed to be. Because your colors run. A real patriot's colors are steadfast red, white, and blue together. I don't think yours have been. In fact, I know yours haven't been. Yours have been cowardly. You should all be wearing yellow. No offense to the color yellow, but it is kind of known color of cowardice kind of thing. Although it's such a lovely color, unlike you Republicans. And you cry, and you clutch your pearls, and you gnash your teeth, and you just let it keep going. Standing up and making speeches on the floor, Republicans, not enough. Not by a long shot. You are not even earning $1 of what we pay you. Keep your hands off of our taxpayers' money and start putting your nose out of Trump's ass and start putting it down to the grindstone and fix this country by getting rid of your little fucking mini king. Because the only person that he's king to is you. You are the only one under his power. Nobody else acknowledges him as a king of anything. And it's the Gulf of Mexico. Nobody but you Republicans consider him a king. Consider that. I understand you're afraid, but you need to have a spine or step the fuck down out of your chair and let somebody who has a spine take it. And I mean now.